Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Workbench. This is Dan, as always, and I want to show you guys some projects that I've been doing. I was going to save this for another video, but since there's enough here, I probably figure that I should show it, just so, it's not such a piled up mess. The last update video I did, I really wasn't happy with, because I kind of had to rush through a lot of the stuff just because there is so much. So there's a lot here too, but not as much as the last video, thankfully, and I should be able to show you guys some of these cars in a little bit of detail, but still be able to move along relatively quick. So I've been working on a lot of planar, covered hoppers, and I've been building a lot more, adding a lot more cars to my LPG fleet. If you guys have been following me on Facebook, I've been posting some projects that I've been doing, some custom paint jobs, some re-lettering jobs, and a lot of other factory painted cars that I've been doing up for modern era. So what I'm going to show first is a couple of covered hoppers that I got now, and I got to start a pair of Atlas covered hoppers that I've been doing a little bit of customizing to, and I think you guys will find these really nice. The last Atlas covered hopper I got was one of the ECUX Thrall covered hoppers, and I was pretty happy with those out of the box. Like I said, a little bit light on the detailing just because they're Trainman models, so they're not that well detailed. So I went ahead with these and did a little extra detailing to both of them, which I have two here. I'll show you the other one in a sec. But I went ahead and added the new couplers, which are KDs, and I added the air hoses and air lines to the bottom, or underneath the sill there on the coupler pocket. I didn't add coupler bars just because I didn't have time to hand form them, but the air hoses are a nice touch. They added just a little bit more detail to the car, so that's one thing I did to these right out of the box. But moreover, these are relatively clean. Some of these BGEX cars I've seen in the rosters on Road Picture Archives are a little bit dirty, but I kept these kind of clean just because I wanted some, like I said, some clean, nice, fresh-looking cars that I can have in my fleet, since that's mostly what you see these days on the rails is relatively newer, cleaner, refurbished cars like these. So the first one here is 443063, and I added the safety tape, did some custom graffiti, weathered the wheels, got some graffiti on the underbody, and you can see it's very, very light weathering. Like I said, it's very, very, very clean. Kind of like fresh repaints almost, but they've been on the rails for a few months at least. And you can see I put just a little bit of grime on the walkways, painted the handrails red on the top. Generally they paint the handrails like these, a brighter color like red, just for safety and visibility, so that the guys climbing up the walkways to maintain or come up and pop these hatches open for loading, it's just a spotting thing, so they can, it stands out basically. So I painted those red on these cars. And again, very, very light. I won't bother showing the engines because there's practically nothing on there. There's really no kick-up or anything, but I did do a little bit of load streaking or spillage on this part here with some shocks. But other than that, like I said, it's a very clean car, but it's a nice, relatively new, modern car I can put in the fleet, and I'm pretty happy with that one. The next one I did a little bit more graffiti on, and this is BGEX 443016, and you can see I did a lot more graffiti, and I got a lot of the load streaking and spillage running down from the top. As you can see, if it'll actually focus, there we go. You can see that. So that looks really cool, and like I said, just some nice light weathering. Got some grime on the wheels. You got a brand new wheel on this truck here, which looks really nice. And on the top, you can see the walkways is grimed up a little bit more heavily on this one. But otherwise about the same. And again, the same treatment in terms of detailing with the air lines and the new couplers, the lower shelf couplers added to the car. And those are KDs, so those are really nice. But that's the one side, and then this side, you can see, you got a little bit more graffiti. But like I said, a nice modern car. Very clean and ready to go. So these are the Atlas cars. And I'm going to slow down on buying these, but I want to go back and maybe get some more Athearn covered hoppers and some Atlas center flows and Walther center flows, of course, and keep just basically building a fleet. So in the next couple videos that you'll see coming from me, you'll be seeing a lot more of these plain, regular, old covered hoppers, just so you guys know ahead of time, since that's what I'll be working on. Next up, I got another center flow covered hopper that I got at a train show, and this is ECUX 844299. And again, you got the reflective striping added, a little bit of tagging, but otherwise very clean. There's just a little bit of rust halo effects on the top, or on the hatches, which I did with some chalks. Darkened up the walkway a little bit with some washes, as you can see. And the wheels came out really nice, you can see. They're a little bit dirty, but not too heavy. So that looks good. I added the McHenry couplers to this as well. The standard couplers I use on both ends. And you can see there's just a little bit of grime on the right at the front there. You get just a little bit of cake up. It's just really, like I said, the baby stages of how it'll start to kind of spray up, but it's not too heavy yet. It's a relatively clean car. So on this side, you can see pretty much the same. Just some tagging here and there. But a nice, simple, relatively clean car, like I said, but another nice one. So I'll keep buying these Atlas center flows and maybe a couple more Walther center flows as I get them, and keep kind of upgrading them. But like I said, you'll be seeing a lot more of these in the next coming videos as I start to collect them. So I'll go ahead and set this side if I can make some room real quick. Let's see. I guess I'll go ahead, and show you a nice little project I've been working on. I've been experimenting with a lot of the airbrush fade techniques again, but this time on some tank cars. So I did a UTLX acid car this time, as you can see, and these are really fun to do. This is UTLX 125052, and I had another 125052, but I ended up, since I had duplicate cars, I ended up selling off the original I had and replacing it with this new one, since this one looks a little bit nicer and it's a little bit more modernized. So I put the white fade on this, which I built up in layers with my airbrush to do this. And once I did all that, then I clear coated it and then put another layer of the fade until I got a kind of a consistent look of a fade texture and just this faded paint look, you know, until I was satisfied with it. And then I sealed it all back up and then put all the weathering effects on this. But you can see it came out really nice. You got some nice rusted up couplers. You got the kick up effects on the ends. Safety striping is added. All the rust on the top hatch, around the walkway, around the sill there, and then streaking down the side here is that bit of acid that starts to kind of corrode once it, you know, comes in contact with the oxygen. It kind of just makes this dusty rust effect on the sides. But it's a nice little car, as you can see, and it came out really good. And then on this side, you can see, again, about the same. Just a nice bit of fading effects and the whole 9 yards there. And then on the bottom, you can see the kick-up effects, like that. And then the trucks also came out very nice. But I like the Athearn cars. I'm always a sucker for these little acid cars. Doing these is always very, very fun. So I'm very happy with how that came out. But that's a nice little UTLX acid car that'll be going in service here. And like I said, very happy with it. I'll try to do some more of these faded cars as I go along. But this is one of the better results. I've done some LPG cars with this fade as well, but I wasn't as happy with them. So I'm still, like I said, perfecting the technique of the fading on tank cars, since it's kind of a harder area to cover since it's a round shell. But once I get this technique perfected, I'll probably do a few more LPG cars and some other different models of tank cars like this in the next coming videos. We'll see. But like I said, UTLX 125052, nice little acid car. So I'll go ahead and set that aside. Now, I also showed some contaminated soil cars in the last video, and these were Sigex or Sigex patchout cars that I did. And the first one I did is 3051, which you can see is now completed. You got all the grime and all the weathering on the sides, the layers of graffiti, the new safety striping is added. You got the hazmat placards and all that added to the sides as well, and on the underbody as well. So you can see the trucks came out really good, and then you got the nice tarp load with the straps. And you guys can check out the video that I posted one video back now, I think, or actually might be 2 videos back, might be 2, how to make these tarps. I get all kinds of questions on how to do these, and I went ahead and showed a video, or made a video, of how to make these. So you guys can check that out if you want, but I made the custom load for this, and I did a relatively clean tarp on this one. You can see it's pretty well new, but it's a nice, like I said, oddball car I can add to my roster. And since I love these contaminated soil cars so much, it's a nice little patch-out car I can add to my fleet. So these are really nice. The particular car that I modeled with these were the, I think, what were they? I forget the exact road name of these, but these are some really old Atlas cars that they did a long time ago, and these are really rare and hard to find. So I ended up paying a little bit for this pair, but I'm glad I spent the money, but I was glad to get them, and the cars themselves came out really good. But I'll show you the other one in a sec here. But here's the other side. You can see you get the layers of tag and all the rust effects and stuff, just from a nice older, beat-up throw-all gondola now at this point. And you can see it looks very nice. Nice modern gondola with the tarped contaminated soil load. So that looks really cool. First one's down, and I'll go ahead and show you the second one. The second one looks pretty cool too. You can see I did the pretty much the same effects, just a lot of graffiti. You got some deteriorating safety stripes, and then the new safety stripes below that are already added. And this one kept its original number, the 129, which I thought was really cool. Got the 3077 for the contaminated soil, the hazmat placard, and the custom holder I made for it. And you can see all the nice effects on the sides. Looks very nice. And the load on this one is a little bit dirty. You can see this tarp load has been in service for a little while, so it's a little bit dusty. But it's a nice look. And on this side, you can see about the same. But it looks really cool. I'm really happy with it. These two, anyways. So that brings the total up to, I think I got 8 of these now. 7 or 8 of them that I have built up. So that's a good number for these contaminated soil cars, because these usually travel in pairs of about 7 or 8 cars that I see when they travel in manifest. So this is a good number to start. I probably won't make any more for now, but if I do, I'll do some with some different colored tarps to add some variety. But these are the Sigex patch outs so far, and like I said, very happy with these. And I actually displayed these cars at the RPM meet that was held in Marion, Ohio. If you guys also were following my Facebook page, I posted a lot of pictures from that show, and I got a lot of good feedback with these gondolas that I showed. So I'm really happy with them, like I said, and I got a lot of good feedback from them, so I'll definitely consider making some more in the future. So I'll go ahead and set these aside and make way for some really cool cars that I've been doing lately. As you guys know, I keep saying and keep showing the LPG cars that I've been doing lately, and I've been doing like these en masse. These are the one car I've been focusing on more than anything else. But the 2 cars in particular I've been doing are TILX style LPG tank cars, and I'll go ahead and bring one into the picture here. So these are going to be really cool to show. I've been really excited to build some of these, and I finally got around to it. These are TILX style, or Trinity Industries LPG tank cars with the railings and walkway on the side of the car. Unlike the UTC or the UTLX versions, which have the walkways on the center of the car, and then the walkway or the handrail or walkway in the middle running down, or the ladder, sorry. These have that on the outside of the car. For the particular loading platforms that they use for these cars these days. So this was an interesting build. I started with the Athearn Genesis tank cars, the older UTLX cars with the walkways on the top, stripped all the walkway platforms and all that off, patched all the holes, and then put the Plano walkway kit and handrails on these to do this. The railings and all this. The kit was a little bit hard to follow, I gotta say. It was hard to follow the instructions, and I ended up making a few mistakes, but they're barely noticeable now. But once I figured it out, and kind of, a little bit of trial and error on these, I figured out how to do them, and then by the time I built the second car, I had it down to a science. So I'm prepared to do a few more of these, but these are the first 2 I did, and they're both TILX lease cars. The first one is TILX 405080, and you can see it's got some graffiti and all that on the sides, but the weathering on these are very clean. Like I said, these are relatively newer cars, so I tried to make these look pretty clean, but once I added the walkway, I did a complete paint job on them, clear coated, put the custom decals on these, the safety striping and everything else, and then did the light weathering. The majority of the weathering work was done on the truck, so you can see you get the blue bearing caps and the rusty grime on the wheels on the trucks, the rusty springs, and rusty fresh wheels, as you can see with the blue bearing caps. These are the Genesis trucks too, so they rotate, which is pretty cool. And like I said, just some nice modern cars. There's just another model tank car that I can add to my fleet now. There's the first end and the second end, and then this side you can see. So these are really popular cars right now, and like I said, I'm very happy I was able to finally get around to building these. They were a little challenging, like I said, but once I got the builds down, I was able to throw everything else together pretty well, and they came together really nicely, and I'm really happy with them. But you could see they, like I said, came out really well, and I'm pretty happy with them. But the first one is 40, 50, 80, and it came out really nice. So this is, I think, this is the first one I think I built, because it had one screw up which I won't show that was on the top. But once I rectified that problem, everything else looked just fine on it. So go ahead and put that aside. The next one I built is 40, 61, 25, and again it's about the same. It's a later version though, or kind of an earlier car, built a few months earlier than the 40, 50, 80, which is relatively newer. You can see you got the grime on the trucks, pretty much the same, relatively clean wheels, clean rusty wheels, and then all the decal work's done, the custom painting, all that. Got the liquefied petroleum gas stencils there, blue bearing caps on the trucks, and you got the gray platform around the hatch, which also looked really cool. So like I said, these were really fun project cars to do. I'm really happy with them. These are the first two, and I'll be building one more. I got one more on the bench right now that I won't show for now that I'm building, and I got two more kits that I got, and I got to get the tank cars for to do 3 more of these. And I'm considering selling one in the end, but for the most part I'm going to keep the other 4. So these are definitely some interesting cars. I'm glad I built them, but these are the first couple that I built so far. So I'll keep you guys posted if I do any more. So, excuse me, I'll go ahead and set these aside and show you some regular cars that I've done here.